Good afternoon, folks. Andrew Schartenberg here, your mortgage engineer. Today is Thursday, February 3rd. I'm here with your rate report and homebuyer tip of the day. We have a busy day in the interest rate and bond markets. Today, we've seen the spread between government loans and conventional loans has decreased just slightly. On the conventional Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac 30-year fixed loans, 0-point perfect scenarios, essentially we're going to be at 4.875, which is where we've been pretty much for the last week and a half. No change there. But for FHA and VA government loans on the 30-year fixed 0-point, again, perfect scenarios, we're going to be at 4.75. So those rose by about an eighth of a percentage point. So we're still holding steady, pretty steady in the high fours here. So here's the scoop on what's going on today in the bond market and with economic news. The 10-year Treasury note is at a yield of 3.51%. It had been hovering anywhere between 3.34% and 3.44%, so in a 10 basis point range, and the higher, the worse for mortgage rates. Now, what I want to say about that is that the 3.50 mark is a level of resistance, is what they call it in the bond market. And when it surpasses a certain level of resistance, and if it stays there for any particular length of time, we very well could see higher rates. That basically could stick, and then we could go to the next level of resistance. So that means that mortgage rates could be going towards about 5%, depending on the economic news and what happens in the markets in the next 2 weeks here. So that's where we are today with the 10-year note. Why are we there? Well, I guess we have a couple things that came out today. The Institute for Supply Management Non-Manufacturing Survey of Labor Demand rose 2% today, or 2% really, 2 points. And that is a pretty big jump. It's the best reading that index has had since the start of the recovery here. And it kind of signifies strength in the labor market, which, take it for what you will. That's what it's showing. Also, because of that, it leads us to possibly seeing a surprise in tomorrow's employment situation. I myself have been pretty negative lately on the employment situation, and I think that unemployment is rising, but we could see a slight jump, a little hiccup here tomorrow. So I would say my recommendation is, if you need to lock your rate in the next couple days because you have a closing coming up, you might want to look into doing it today, depending on where you're at, to guard against us possibly going even higher tomorrow on the yield. So that's rates, a little convoluted today, but we'll see what happens tomorrow with the employment situation. It very well could get worse. Our tip of the day is, now is the time to buy. Sure, you've been hearing that. If you talk to realtors, if you talk to mortgage people, if you listen to the news, or your friends, or anyone that's been foreclosed on, they'll tell you that you shouldn't buy, but I think that now is the time to buy. One reason is that home prices are still very low. Obviously, we think they're going to stay pretty low for a while, and interest rates are also low. Whether they're going to go a little bit up, a little bit down, we know that they're in a good spot right now historically, so you really can't, with those two things combined, go in the wrong direction. And that's actually coming from John Paulson of Paulson & Co. Hedge Funds. If any of you guys followed the mortgage crisis and the housing crisis, he's the guy that in 2007 bet against the subprime mortgage market and personally made in his pocket $4 billion from doing that. And then in 2010, he turned around and bet on the housing recovery and the mortgage market recovery, and he made $5 billion personally doing that, on top of making his hedge fund $1.2 trillion. So this is a guy that knows a little bit about housing and real estate, and he's saying that now is the time. So, if you've got someone like that talking and saying that now it's time to buy it, maybe we should wake up and listen. So that's all for today, folks. Stay warm out there, and we'll be back tomorrow with your rate report.